Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to have you in today's video. I'm going to be talking all about how I quit my corporate job and pursued influencing full-time. I'm going to tell you guys all my tips on how I knew I was ready to quit and all the behind the scenes that I don't normally show. So I'm super excited for this certain video. There goes my dog. But if you're not already, go ahead and give me a like if you enjoy this type of content, and make sure you subscribe because I post every single Wednesday. But without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. Let's go. Okay, so I definitely feel like I need to give you guys a little bit of a background and really set the scene for you guys. So it all began back in 2016. I actually fell in love with blogging, and I really got into this space, the YouTube space and the Instagram space. And then I also had a beauty blog, which is crazy to think about now because I really started as a fashion and beauty creator where I do makeup videos. And looking back now, I am not really that good at makeup, and I just was not passionate about fashion and beauty, and I'm a lot more passionate about what I'm doing now. Just getting tongue-tied, no worries. But yeah, so I got my start back in 2016, so that feels so long ago, but I was working, or I was studying in a heavily male-dominated space, so I felt like I needed some outlet where I could show fashion and beauty and things that I normally wouldn't talk about, obviously with the guys in my classes and in my school and things like that. So I really wanted an outlet, and that is how I came across blogging and this whole influencing sphere. Basically, I just wanted to show my feminine side. So I really turned to social media to show this off, and it's crazy because back then I feel like you got so much judgment from people around you because it really wasn't a thing. Influencing was not a thing yet. So I got a lot of unfollows, and it really hurt and it really stung in the beginning just because the people that I had grown up with were oh no, I'm not interested anymore, and unfollowed me, which really hurt at first. But now I'm looking back and I'm I wouldn't want those people in my life anyways, because those people are just not my people. I don't want to be surrounded by that type of negativity. So if you're just getting into influencing and starting this, there are going to be people who aren't going to understand and who will throw shade and negativity your way, and that's completely fine because that just makes you realize that you don't want to surround yourself with those type of people at all. So I really knew from that point that it was going to be hard, but I knew I really enjoyed doing this, and that's all that mattered. And obviously hindsight was 2020. I didn't realize that until a little bit down the line when I really changed my mindset and my positive outlook on things. But I knew that at the end of the day I was happy, and that's all that mattered. And back then I was really working on my mindset of not caring what other people thought. I feel that is such a big thing to focus on and to work around, especially whenever you're in that 18-year-old time frame where you're just getting out of high school and you have all this drama and people judging you, to trying to figure out what your passion is in life. So now I'm gonna go into my story. So basically I was 19 whenever I started my corporate job. So I was working full-time in corporate. I was in school full-time, and then I was pursuing this newfound side hustle of influencing and freelancing. So this is when I found that I was really passionate about freelancing and making money online. So I got my start on Fiverr, actually doing graphic design, and nowadays I don't really do a lot of graphic design work. So it's just kind of funny to see how you adapt and evolve over the span of a few years. So that's where I got my start, and I just remembered I hustled. I would take my laptop to this full-time job I had, and any 15-minute break, any lunch hour I had, I would literally grab my laptop and work on my freelancing business as a graphic designer, essentially. Sometimes I miss the hustle because that's how I got to where I am today, and just looking back on how hard I worked to get to this point, it is so rewarding. So I just recommend to you guys to obviously hustle through, if you're not enjoying your job right now, hustle through it, find a different way, or find a different avenue for you that you really enjoy, because for me, that was everything. Like, that's what kept me going, is that like I really found something that I was passionate about and enjoyed. And I also kind of looked at the corporate world and I was like, I don't really like doing this. I don't really like sitting at a desk working for somebody else, and that's kind of how I figured out I didn't want to do that. And without that experience, I don't think I would have ever known that like firsthand, and like feeling all the feelings I had felt at that moment. So looking back now, I'm so thankful for that experience that I had, because I wouldn't have got to where I am today without that. So basically, I would literally work out of my car on my laptop on lunch break in the parking lot of my full-time job. And as time passes, I really realized I was actually making like a decent income doing this freelance thing, and that is when I was like, okay, I'm hustling to try to like surpass my corporate income that I was making at that time. So fast forward like about a year, I also was taking on some brand collaborations for my Instagram, and I was running different like advertising avenues and different ads for my blog and partnerships on Instagram, and I really built a client base at this time. I was a freelancer and I was building up my Instagram page. So at this point, I probably was at like 8 to like 10,000 followers on my Instagram page. So here is when it gets fun, and this is when it gets good in the story. So basically, at this point, I kind of came to this fork in the road. I came to this like point where I had to make a decision. I got offered a part-time modeling gig with a local boutique, and this was obviously right up my alley because I was already doing Instagram. I was already like taking photos and doing content and things like that. So I really had to make a decision. I'm like, I can't add one more thing onto my plate at that time. So I was like, which way am I gonna go? So obviously I had to make the decision, and I actually quit my job at this point and pursued the part-time modeling gig, and then also I was still doing like my freelance and influencing stuff at that point. So I will say it was definitely scary like leaving that stable job, and that was something that I feel like everybody kind of goes through as they're quitting like a job to be their own boss. So basically the moral of the story here was that the part-time modeling job obviously didn't pay me as much as the full-time corporate job, but I knew I really liked the modeling stuff a lot more, so it would be work that I actually enjoyed and that I actually really liked to do and that I was kind of good at this point. But it was nice because that modeling job paid me, and like it really brought that security over me whenever I was leaving that full-time corporate job. So I used that as like a security blanket, so to speak. So it was nice that I didn't have to like full out quit the job to go like fully self-employed, because I was still technically working part-time modeling. So I think I did that for about a year and a half, and then COVID hit, and then I actually stopped modeling for that boutique. I just didn't do it anymore because of COVID and all that stuff that was happening. So this is when I kind of really got pushed into doing my business full time. And it's crazy to think that like 2 years later now, I have never looked back, and I've made more money than I have like with all of those jobs combined, which is something that is so exciting. And I highly recommend for you guys, if you are thinking about quitting your job to become self-employed, especially as like a security blanket for you, I highly recommend like trying to surpass your corporate income or whatever job you have at that time. Try to surpass that with influencing and brand deals and whatever you're doing, whatever your side hustle might be. It doesn't even have to be influencing. Just try to like surpass that, just so like it could sort of be like that stability in your life, and then just like keep track of everything in your income, because you definitely want to look at what parts of your business are producing the most money for you, and then you also want to make sure that you're trying to like provide like a consistent income for yourself month to month. And I know this is extremely hard in the beginning, and it is so like, it is like a mind thing. Like it is extremely scary, and that's why people don't do it. That's why people don't become a business owner or like their own boss, because it's extremely scary. And I remember the feelings that I felt during that time, but now I'm like, oh, it's no big deal. It's like, it's something that happened 2 years ago, and I've just never looked back, and I've made way more money than I could have ever imagined doing this. But my absolute favorite thing about being self-employed obviously is that there is no like income cap, which is like the best thing ever. Like, I'm able to push myself month to month to make the money that I could possibly make, to make the most money I could ever make in like a month. Like, it's crazy because you track your income and you just see how well you're doing, and then you just capitalize on the things that are providing you revenue. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope it provided some type of inspiration just to get to know like my story on how I quit my corporate job to pursue my business. It has literally been the greatest thing I've ever done, and I wish you guys all the best if you are trying to do the same type of thing, and I hope this video was helpful. Make sure you leave me a like if it was, and subscribe because I post videos just like this every single Wednesday, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!